Hello again, everyone. In this part 2 on the segment of plagiarism, I'm going to talk about how we can paraphrase so that we can avoid committing plagiarism, unknowingly or intentionally. So the first rule of the thumb is to express published ideas using different words. It's inevitable that we have to cite or quote from a previous publication, either because we have used their methods before, or because we are in agreement or objection of a previously proposed idea or findings. So there are a few ways that you could actually paraphrase the text. One of it that you might be surprised is that if English is not your first language, that actually works to your advantage because you can write the text in your own first language and then later translate it back to English. And you might be surprised how effective this is in actually paraphrasing the text itself. Because if you think about that, if you look at a chunk of text and just sit here thinking, how am I going to rewrite it? You might be stumped. But if you try this little trick, you might be surprised how far you can go. Another way to do that, whether in your own native language or in English, is to explain the ideas to a friend or a colleague. In doing so, you would actually realize that you are already paraphrasing in your head by just talking it out and explaining the ideas to someone else. And those are the words and the sentences that you would want to put in your article so that it would not be the same as the one that you're lifting out from. And of course, in the course of our research, we take a lot of notes, we jot down ideas, we read a lot of papers, and then, that serve as motivation and inspirations, and we put it in our lab book or our notebooks. The thing is that always, even in the text in your notebooks, always cite the source. So that when you actually write your paper referring to those notes, you know that these were not your own ideas. And that will prompt you to cite the source. All right? And to be very meticulous about it and to make sure that you're not unknowingly, unintentionally copying someone else's text, it's always good to name and cite the published methods. All right, so not just the method and say describe elsewhere. If there's a name to the method, include the name specifically. So, and then when we write our sentences, how we actually want to paraphrase, there are several ways to do it. All right, and let me point out a few, and you could apply it and see how you could go from there, because it's almost like a habit. Once you start doing it, it will come to you quite naturally. Okay, so of course the most obvious one is to be obvious that it's not your own work or your own text. So you could say something like according to so-and-so's method, or in so-and-so's study, or the authors put their names and the team showed or reported. All right, so this will give the first clue and a very obvious clue to the reader that you are actually citing the information from another source. Another way to do it is to actually join two sentences together by using semicolon or colon for reasons or list, or actually to put two ideas together. All right, two ideas in two sentences into one, and by doing so, you're contracting the sentence structure, and that in itself is paraphrasing. Another one is that a very obvious signal to the reader that this is not your own work is that you could use discourse markers. All right, words such as coincidentally, or also in agreement, or indeed. Using words like this would show that, all right, someone else has already done the work, and now you're doing it, and you found similar findings. All right, and then the opposite of that would be to use words like in contrast to, or surprisingly, or different from, these phrases and words, again, will signal to the reader that you're comparing your results or your findings or your ideas with a previously published paper, and that in itself would be great in paraphrasing your sentences, and also be honest about the fact that you are not trying to make the readers believe that a previously reported idea or finding is something new. I hope that helps. Thank you.